And let's get it going. Welcome into a live Locked On Lions squad show. Jake Riepma, Natalie Kerwin, and Bradford Banta. The midweek edition as we enter a must-win game at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Natalie Kerwin.
Natalie Kerwin with FanDuel Sports Network. A pissed off Jared Goff might just be the recipe these Lions need this coming Sunday.
Bradford Banta here, 22-year NFL veteran. We just got done with the first quarter of the 4 quarters of the remaining 4 games. We lost the first one. What are we going to do with the remaining 3?
One pride. It's the Lions Squad. Everything Detroit Lions every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Motor City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the roar of the Lions to the next great chapter, the Lions Squad Show starts now.
It's a live Locked On Lions squad show on the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you like today's show. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel already. And how about a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, making the show possible is FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, we'll visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Welcome one, welcome all. Fire up that comment section. Let us know where you're watching from and tuning in. And of course, if you missed the live version, you can always get the audio version wherever you get your podcast on the #1 sports podcast platform. Natalie Kerwin, Bradford Banta. My name is Jake Riepma. How is everybody doing today? Bradford joining us from Louisiana, back home.
Dog. Yeah, gotta come check on my fam. And I got to tell you what, the weather's a little bit better down here in Louisiana than it is in Michigan right now.
Can you bring some sunshine back here, please? As I look outside, and I mean, there is some sunshine peeking in, as you can see on my face, but it's freezing outside, and I'm looking at just a huge blanket of snow. So,
well,
not too fun, but
you know what?
Glad you are enjoying some warm weather.
Natalie Kerwin, we've waited. It's the middle of December here, and I don't know if we've talked about it on this program, but you just said it. There's a lot of snow on the ground. That's perfect for a Hall of Fame downhill skier such as yourself. I mean, are we still? Yeah, Bradford doesn't know that. We're with the Hall of Famer. Natalie is a Hall of Fame downhill skier.
No kidding.
We haven't. I feel like that didn't come up earlier this summer at all? No? With the ski picture in the back? Hold on.
You know what? It did, but I'd like to delve into it a little bit more, though. Just a little bit more. Yeah.
Milford High School, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you want to know?
Hey, all right. So you got what? Was it slalom? What was the event?
Yeah, slalom and giant slalom.
Hey. Oh. So how giant of a slalom can you get on Michigan ski hills? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, that's why you go up north for the state championships, because down here you're down the hill in about 20 seconds.
You know what?
Full speed.
A few years back, oh gosh, whenever I was coaching with the Lions, we went up to, was it Oswego?
Oswego?
Yeah. We went up there, that too. But we went up there. And they were training. They had carved out. What do the snowboarders go down? The half pipe.
Half pipe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, down the half pipe. And they carved out a full size half pipe. Is whenever the Olympics were taking place in the Winter Olympics were taking place here in the States, and they had carved out for training a half pipe, and we got to ski down it. Which is pretty cool, but you don't realize how big that thing is and how high those walls are whenever, those guys are going down it. And it was, I don't know, it's something, being a very novice skier that I am, it was fun to go. It was fun to go down. So
I'm picturing Bradford going full speed up the side. Tricks.
So, hey. Do we have time for a story?
Of course we do.
Okay. All right.
We always have
time.
So,
yeah. So I learned how to ski. This is after I got done playing. And Amy grew up in Colorado, so she grew up skiing. And we, two of our three kids were born, and no, all three of our kids were born. So we go out to Big Sky, and I had never skied before, so I take a half-day lesson, and we're out there with my brother-in-law and his family and all that kind of stuff. So I take a half-day lesson. I get done, and the instructor's like, "Okay, just stay green, go green, and just make sure you go back and forth and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, "All right," so I'm good. So my nephews, who all just were raised skiing, they were like, "Hey, let's go down this blue." And this is towards the end of the day of my first day skiing. And I'm like, why not? Let's go. So unbeknownst to me, I mean, this is west, this is out west skiing. So it's not hills, it's mountains. And you look at it, and unbeknownst to me, it was an ungroomed blue. So I'm sitting here and we're talking about, thinking the whole time, all right, was it pizza, French fries, right?
French fry.
Back and forth, real, making sure my turns were long and slow. And all of a sudden they started getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And then my skis went from pizza to French fry. So I'm going about 80 miles an hour down this ungroomed blue. And so, I go ass over tea kettle, and one of my sticks is about 75 yards up. Another one of my skis is about 50 yards up. And then my other ski, and then my stick. And then once I come to a rolling stop, I look over on the side of the mountain. There's this guy taking a break, and he looks over at me and he goes, "You okay?" Look, I give him a thumbs up, and meantime, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law are just collecting all my stuff as they're skiing down the mountain.
And you're just tumbling down.
Oh God, I'm fortunate. Yeah, I'm fortunate I didn't start like an avalanche, because all it takes is one little pebble. So my brother-in-law gave me the best piece of advice that I ever got skiing. He's like, always ski uphill. He goes, if you always think about skiing uphill, you're always going to come to a stop. Then you can make your turn. And then he goes, gravity will take you down. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get down, but gravity will eventually get you down to the bottom of the mountain. And I always think about that every time I go out skiing now.
There you go. Yeah, you didn't let it stop you from getting back into it. Maybe a Locked On Lions squad show ski trip is in our future. Natalie can show us the ropes.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll give you guys some lessons. That'd be fun.
Look out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. I don't know if I told you guys this, but when I'm on the West Coast with the Pistons next week, I'll be with them for Christmas. And when we play the Jazz, we'll be there on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And we have a couple off days. And so I bought a lift ticket already. I'm going to Park City for the
good
day.
For you.
Are you really? You're going to Park City?
Yes, because they're having a stay close to Park City. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm Ubering over there. I'm going to ski. I don't care. I get the opportunity. Why not?
Yes, that is awesome. Well, as they say in the business world, we'll take this conversation offline because we do have a show to do.
That's true. We're almost 10 minutes in.
yes, we make the seamless transition. It's okay. I had the year-end review meeting with Sam before today's show. We got lots of thumbs up and check pluses, so hopefully he doesn't watch this one. No, I'm kidding, of course. But I've got some good recs for you at Park City because I was out there this fall. So we'll have a great conversation. Perfect. Offline, as they say. But we make the seamless transition into Jared Goff's comments. And it was on 97.1 The Ticket earlier this week on Lions fans who think the Lions might be done. Jared Goff said, quote, "It pisses me off a little bit to hear that." Now, the full quote includes, "We have to win this first one. We'll have it in front of our home fans. It'll be great. Go out there, get that W, and hopefully prove a lot of our people wrong." Which my interpretation, and I would love to hear your guys's as well, and in the comments as well. Shout out to everybody tuning in live. I think Jared Goff has every right to say that, and it should piss him off because fans have the fans is short for fanatics. We're all fanatics, but the inability to use a little bit of perspective here in this 3-year run that has been orchestrated by Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, and forget where this Lions franchise and organization has been at times in the past. And I think Jared Goff has every right to say that pisses him off a little bit, because it pisses me off a little bit that Lions fans have and when you say fans, that it's a huge population. And when, of course, everyone has their own individual opinions and whatnot. But I am of the mindset that Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, and just the rest of this era of Detroit Lions deserve the benefit of the doubt based on the sample of work that they've done in years past. And all that to say is everything's still in front of this team. So per usual, no surprise here. I'm backing my guy, Jared Goff, Natalie Kerwin.
Yes, definitely not a shocker there. I agree, though. I think Jared does have every right to be pissed off. I think where a lot of these comments are coming from might be bandwagon fans, because true fans understand that the last few years we have gotten great results from this team, right? And so I think the frustration is coming from the high expectations that have been put on this team, right? Even reaching, the NFC Championship against San Fran a couple of years ago, and then obviously being disappointed against the Commanders last year, but even reaching that point and the great record that the Lions had, not losing on the road. Then you come into this season and what they've, the record that they're at right now, 8-6, and a little bit of the highs and lows that they've faced. It hasn't been the season that I think fans have expected. So I can see the frustration, but if you look at the bigger picture, I think I can understand why Jared's like, really, guys, seriously, look at, what we've gone through. We're battling a serious injury bug right now, which obviously has hit them last year as well. But, this Rams game this last week was not going to be easy, and true fans would understand that and expect that. I mean, when you look at it, though, I almost think these comments and Jared hearing them at the right time, because he always says, I don't listen to the outside noise. I try not to go on social media. I don't care about any of that. I think this almost came at the right time, because he seems to me like someone that would take this and use this as fuel and be like, screw you guys, F you guys. I'm gonna show you why this team can get it done. Now, winning out isn't going to be easy, but I think having the opportunity at home this Sunday is going to be, with these comments in mind, Jared's just going to have extra fuel to the fire. And so I almost think it was a good thing that these comments came out this week for him to hear them. So that's my take on it. But I truly think the frustration from fans is coming from what we've seen from them the last couple of years, and feeling like, God, they should still be at that same high level that we've seen the last 2 seasons. So that's right.
So it really does it fuel it? Yes, it does. Is it bulletin board material? Yes, it is. So the questions that fans have to ask themselves, what is the personality of this 2025 Detroit Lions team? And it has been up and down. My personal opinion is that they need to go back and understand what got them here. The players, a majority of I wouldn't say a majority, but the core group of players that got them here are still here. And some of them are hurt, i.e., let's say Laporta, Branch, Kirby Joseph, a couple of those guys. But at the same time, use this as fuel, and then also get back to and have it explained to the team. And this is something that Dan could possibly do is in a team meeting, is what is the true meaning of grit? Everybody has heard it on the team, but I think that there's some guys that don't understand what the true meaning of grit is, because they haven't gotten that definition. You walk into this culture, you're automatically expected to understand what grit means. So this needs to be explained to everybody, or reminded what grit is, and then you proceed to to go about your day, you go about your week, and then prep for the game, and then get ready to go on Sunday.
100%. I love what both of you said in the sense that I think always moving forward is such a huge part of being an athlete in any sport, and obviously at the highest level in a physically, mentally, and everything else demanding sport like the NFL, where looking back does no good. And anybody that has competed at the highest level understands that. And I felt like this, Nat, to your point, was like, Goff rarely rarely don't see him speak out with any type of I guess tenacity or any pointed comments. You know, I love the guy, but it's a lot of the quarterback. It's like the coach talk version. It's the coach talk version in athlete form. So the fact that he chose this particular time, and maybe it was organic and just kind of spontaneous, but I still think there's an element of measured comments at this particular time in the season where here, let's buckle up, strap up the helmet and let's go win 3 games and see what happens. So I think it's an interesting discussion. And as a lot of these things often do, they'll play themselves out on the field on Sunday against a Pittsburgh Steelers team who we haven't even talked about yet, but looked pretty good on Monday Night Football against a Dolphins team that doesn't like to play in the cold too much.
Jake, I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
Who do you love more, Jared Goff or Brian Branch?
Trick question because
no, it's flat out. Hey, I'm asking.
1 and 1A. I love Brian Branch. I love the plays that he makes. I miss that he's not in the lineup. We can tell how much this defense needs and misses Brian Branch. So thank you. Thank you for putting me on the spot. And it is a great time to reiterate our listeners how much I love Brian Branch for the plays that he makes on the field between the whistles. It's those plays outside the whistles that get me going, but we won't do that on this particular episode. We got Nat's notes coming up next, right, Nat?
We do have Nat's notes, and unfortunately Brian Branch is not a part of that, so we're getting it out of the way now. But we are going to go over injury reports for both teams and one other element about a possible, I don't know if you guys heard about this, I'm not going to give it away now, but as much as we talked about the refs last week, there was a possible penalty they were going to throw out against Amon-Ra St. Brown and some of the other receivers. Not going to tell you what it is, but we're going to hit it at the end of my segment.
That's next. Nat's notes. Today's episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends over at Rocket Money. All right, listen up, my friends. You ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every single dollar, and stay in front of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot you were paying for and helps you clean them up quickly. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier than ever to understand where your money is going. And I love how Rocket Money is automatically building your budgets based on past spending. It keeps you on track without overthinking it. So take control of your finances, cancel unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Time for Nat's Notes right here on a live Locked On Lions Squad Show. Natalie Kerwin, take it away.
All right, guys. So heading into this Sunday's matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because we usually get the full-on practice report Wednesday afternoon, and we usually film these on Thursdays, we don't have the full lowdown of who was in and who was out today in Allen Park, unfortunately. But
I take full responsibility. Thank you for the flexibility. We called a little audible, and per usual, Natalie Kerwin and Bradford Banta all over it, putting up with my BS. So thank you.
Hey, that's okay. Hey, we are flexible here. We all work together. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's why this show is one of the best. Come on.
And why you can get the audio only version anytime, because it will be uploaded.
Of course. Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth, Jake. All right. Well, as far as injury status for this coming Sunday, what we know right now and what we have heard the last couple of weeks, Kirby Joseph still questionable with his knee injury, Coyote Awasika with his foot, Amik Robertson, hand, and Thomas Harper still in concussion protocol. So those are the four currently listed on the injury report right now and questionable for Sunday afternoon. Eric Hallett, who started at safety on Sunday against the Rams, he was taken off the practice squad by the Tennessee Titans. So the Lions responded by adding cornerback Keenan Garber. He's a rookie. He spent time on both the Vikings and Colts practice squads this season, but he has no NFL experience. So he's just a guy I'm assuming that they'll want to develop over time. But that was a new, transaction that was made in the last couple of days. But yeah, so no Eric Hallett. He was credited with 10 tackles and a pass defended in the game on Sunday. So not sure who they're going to slide into his spot for this coming game, but he is no longer with the Lions. So that is one note to add. As for the Steelers, Pittsburgh, they're expected to have their star rookie D tackle back versus the Lions, Derek Harmon. He was not available against the Dolphins. But that obviously is huge when you're talking about run defense relevance. And so their interior is going to be really healthy. And so that's something I'm sure Bradford's going to hit on in his, Bradford's, coach's corner in his notes. So we won't do too much of a deep dive on that. But they are expected to have him healthy and fully available. So when I feel like we talk about this every week when we go over Nat's notes. Obviously injuries are, at this point of the season, they're all up and down the Lions roster, and it's what they've battled. It's felt like all season long. But I think at this point, especially after hearing the comments about the Lions, they're done, they're out of it, 8-6, there's no chance. Obviously the physical fatigue is there when you look at the injury report. But at this point, I'll start with you, Bradford, with the mental side of it, the mental fatigue at this point. How do you how are these guys battling that part of it too? When you hear that, I think Jared does a good job at not letting that get to him, it sounds like. But at this point, you got 3 games left, so much left on the line. We can talk about how much of an impact not having all those guys I just listed has on the game. But at this point, the mental side, how do you find your way and work your way through that?
Every rookie goes through it, and it takes you a couple years to learn how to pace yourself throughout the season and sleep. And I'll go back to my second year in the league whenever I was playing with the Colts, and we had a player come in. He was dating his now wife, still friends with this guy, and he would show up to work, go to meetings, go to practice, and then go home. As soon as he got home, he would go to sleep. He would wake up, he would eat, and then he would go to sleep, and then wake up the next day and do it all over again. And so we're out one night. It's his now wife, and so we're all out, we're eating dinner and stuff like that. And she's like, I hate this. Talking about his now wife is telling me this. She's like, I hate this. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? She goes, he shows up, he gets home, I'm cooking, he goes to sleep. He gets up, he eats, and then he goes to sleep. And she's like, there's no time for anything else. And but it's just that point in the season where you learn it the more years you put in. and you have to take care of your body. And the facilities that they have available for these players to take care of their body and regenerate the body after it breaks down, and just through the management of practice, and it gets to be more mental more than anything. I believe that, Jared understands this. I believe Amon Ra. The people that don't is, let's just say, Tate Ratledge. And, I think J-Mo's still learning it. He seems to be coming on in the second half of the season. But the ones that you really have to worry about is your rookie and second year players, and getting them to understand that this is the only thing that matters. Yes, you are a quote unquote celebrity. People will recognize you whenever you go out, but you're better off, just battening down the hatch, going from work to home, and then putting the fuel in the body so it can repair itself while you're resting. And that's it. And then whenever you're not in meetings or you're not in practice, you're taking every available opportunity to repair the body even more. And whether that's cold tub, hot tub, cryotherapy, getting the massage gun and massaging yourself out, because that's now the popular way to do things. And was it they call it the have y'all ever heard of the Swiss swing? Do you know what that is? It's a cylinder. It's a cylinder probably a foot to a foot and a half in diameter, and it vibrates is what it does. And or the power plate? Y'all had to have seen like a power plate, right? No, you have not seen a power plate. You have? I mean,
No.
both of you are smiling at me. You're just like, what the hell
you're talking
is he
about
talking?
vibrating cylinders.
Well, no, believe me. Look, I've been in a football locker room. No, that conversation's been brought up. So, but it's just anything you can do to repair your body.
I'm so glad
ready for
segment because I'm losing it. I'm sorry.
Well, Jake, I mean, I'm expecting the segment to go into. I'm expecting the commercial to go into my segment. It's going to be about, was that Rouget or whatever it is?
So, or our fan favorite, Mazda.
Yeah,
that one in a while.
So I mean. Is that next commercial?
Oh man,
is that one it or no?
No, thank goodness it's not on the docket for today, though.
Okay, all right. Well, I got you. All right. Well,
do you need me to segue?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Matt?
More than enough.
I'm trying to give you everything that's out there to where the guys can take care of themselves.
No, well, hey, we like hearing this insider perspective, though. We don't have these stories, so we like when it's story time. Truly. That's your teammate, though. He took the idea of mental discipline to a whole nother level. How many hours a day did this guy sleep?
Yeah, no doubt.
The wife definitely wasn't happy.
No, she wasn't.
The whole idea of happy wife, happy life, he was not living up to that.
No, he wasn't.
Married to the game. That's why. Married to the game.
Exactly. And I'm glad that, I don't think so, Mestrovi. I don't think I'm about to receive a fine because I did not disclose anything. Other people's minds, my co-host went to like far off places, and I'm not touching that. I was simply stating the facts. What?
We gotta stick to the reputation we had on the last show of being the millennials here. So here we go.
We do that, and then that segues perfectly into the next topic that I'm going to bring up here, and that's it's us being silly millennials. Okay, so seriously, you guys, I don't know if anyone saw this. Jake, I could tell by what I brought up in my tease that you definitely read this. We're talking about So NFL officials on Sunday. Obviously, we talked a lot about that on our post-game show, but this is kind of a fun way to end the segment here. So Amon-Ra St. Brown went on his
We have to
podcast
end it?
this week.
We have to end it? We have
Well,
to
I'm
end
going to end it here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to end it here. I just want to end it on a fun, lighthearted note.
Okay.
So Amon-Ra St. Brown went on his weekly podcast with his brother, and they always talk about whatever it is in the game, what's going on.
We're well aware.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well, I feel like we don't talk about it on here enough, but they always bring up so many fun, different things that I get a kick out of those too. But Amon-Ra, J-Mo, and Jahmyr Gibbs did, on the first drive of the game against the Rams, this booger flicking celebration. Did you notice this,
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
So Amon-Ra went on his podcast explaining that receivers coach Scotty Montgomery went over to all of them and said, you guys got to stop doing that. You cannot do it the rest of the game. And they were like, Coach, why? Like, what's wrong with that? And he was like, the refs just said, like, it'll be a penalty if anyone does it again. And I was like, why is that bad? Why can't I dig in my nose and flick it? And then he's like, NFL refs, is that disrespectful, derogatory? He went on a whole rant on his show about why they can't pick their nose. But I just cannot believe that the refs were more, not that I want to get into a whole argument about this right now, but the refs were more worried about them picking their nose than getting the Colby touchdown right. When we think about all the things that went wrong on Sunday, that's what they're worried about.
It's the no fun league, but I think it's a testament to the NFL largely, to your point, maybe focusing in on the more impactful calls as opposed to the celebrations. Like, it's weird. Sure. I don't know why they want to pick their nose and use that as a first down celebration, but is it hurting anybody? No. Is getting to your point, the call completely wrong and the rules analyst on TV being completely mind blown why you came up with that call a bigger deal? I would say yes.
It's just interesting to me. I don't see anything wrong with picking your nose.
This has been a fantastic segment. I got to admit, these 15 minutes is,
like I said,
can we repeat it? That's what I'm wondering.
I'm glad I had my year-end, or we had our year-end review.
Yeah, I know.
Today. Before this show, because he would go, okay, this last one went totally off the rails. I take back everything I just said to you, Jay. We need to reevaluate how we're doing this. Anyway.
That's Nat's notes. What's coming up on Coach's Corner?
We're just going to talk ball. Boring.
Less booger picking, more ball talking. That's next on the Locked On Lions Squad show. Hey, today's episode of the Locked On Lions show is brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels a little bit different. Let me go ahead and pull up the FanDuel graphic right here. Where is that FanDuel graphic? Somebody's got to find it. There it is. All right, just in case you're watching on the YouTube, let's try that one more time. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes living better with FanDuel so exciting, or live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. That's live betting, not live betting. We are live betting. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best. When the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props, updates as guys are heating up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and so much more. It keeps you locked in to every single snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. The Locked On Lions. Oh,
Dear God.
Everybody on the YouTube, I'm sorry. If you got the audio only version, Bradford Banta is pulling the legitimate Amon-Ra St. Brown nose pick and flick celebration right here on the Locked On Lions squad show on the
Hey,
number one.
the Trojans have to stick together, man. Fight on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fight on. That being said, hey, Coach's Corner, like we said before the break, less booger picking, more ball talking. What do the Lions got to do to beat the Steelers this weekend?
Yeah, look, what do they have to do first? They have to start fast. If I was Dan, I mean, you let's say you win the toss. The decision has to be made on whether or not you're going to take the ball or you're going to defer to the second half. I'm of the thought process is to take the ball and just get the offense just start rolling. And you got to start fast. You got to stay balanced. And what do you mean by staying balanced is, just mix in run, pass, and just stress the Steelers. Now, they're, having a healthier Harmon is going to help in the middle. But what do? You make him run. Go, you can't run straight at him. So it is going to be a physical game, but that should play into Detroit's favor. Because, they're going to, yes, Pittsburgh does have athletes, but you know what? We have more. And we have to keep that scoring, 30 plus points a game up. And this offense is built to score. So just let them go eat from the beginning and just keep them on schedule. And from just a tactical standpoint, talking about Detroit's offense, you want tempo. We talked about this post game versus the Rams. I'm surprised the Rams didn't keep that up versus the Lions, knowing, what kind of personnel situation that the Lions were in. The Rams went up tempo and they were having success, but for some reason, McVay and Matthew backed down from it a little bit. But you have to know what personnel is out on the field for the Steelers and just reduce their exotic sub packages. Jake and Nat, can you take over for just a second? I have to sneeze.
Yeah, we're all over it. I was going to say the importance of somebody holding personnel cards on the sidelines like I did for an entire season as a redshirt freshman, because that's very, very important to know what personnel groups are out there. So hopefully the Lions have some really flashy personnel cards like we did at Northwood, nice and bright and orange and yellow, so you can see them from anywhere on the sidelines. 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12.
All right.
Did you sneeze? I didn't even hear it.
No, I turned my mic off. So,
Smart.
Yeah. So try to do that. Try to be a little bit respectful in some way, shape, or form in this segment. I don't know about last segment if I was respectful. But
I want to put this comment on real quick as our guy puts. We talked about vibrating cylinders and nose picking. That's why you tune in.
We appreciate you, sir.
Ma'am. No doubt. But so you just it's running the ball. It's getting Jameer and Montgomery going. And even though their interior is getting healthier, they can still be attacked. And what you want to do is you want eye candy to become a distraction. And what I mean by eye candy is just through motions and the different angles. You can't just run straight downhill at these guys because they will make you pay if you do that. So you have to take the open space whenever it's available if you're a runner, but you also have to be patient. And from a throwing perspective, I honestly think that if attack the middle of the field against these guys, because you want to live the entire game in a 2nd and 6 type world. And you get 2nd and 6, that's going to open up the chunk plays, meaning the 10 plus runs, the 20 plus passes, and you can kind of hit those over the top. And then getting the ball in J-Mo's hands with, I wouldn't say short passes, but just the intermediate passes from, let's say, 8 to 15 yards. He's not a precise route runner, but if he finds the open space versus Pittsburgh, then he can make something happen because of his yak yards. The yards after catch are pretty doggone impressive. I read something the other day, but I can't remember the stat about his yak yards, and he's one of the top 2 in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So that's how I would attack it offensively. And then, switching over to defense, it's, where can they win defensively? And it's more of reduce the explosives and win on third down. And I have talked about this game after game. This team has to learn, this defense has to learn how to get off the field on third down, because it has been affecting them all season long. And, you're going to have Aaron Rodgers back there quarterbacking. And with Aaron, he is not going to hold on to the ball long. And it's just, this is where the defensive tackles come into play. And it's just pressuring the middle. If you get people in his face and you don't fall off the cliff with the defensive ends, meaning rushing past the quarterback, that's what I'm talking about whenever I say rushing or running off the cliff. If you don't create any avenues for him to possibly escape, that's where you're going to be most effective. But you have to shut down the run first, because he is not going to be looking to hold on to that ball very long. And it's going to be a shootout because the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, knows the defense very well just because of his experience in the NFC North. He hasn't seen it all season long, but it's been a couple years since he's seen it. But he's a smart guy. He has gone up against this defense numerous times, and he knows the holes. Now it's just picking. Aaron's going to be picking who he wants to take advantage of. He's going to look at that defensive backfield, and he knows who he's going to target. And it's just a matter of the receivers coming up with the plays. And it's a matter of the secondary stepping up like they did versus the Buccaneers, and then making, and taking it home, because defense has to come up with turnovers this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I look for, and then switching gears, going to the third phase of the game, is special teams. And you got to win the hidden yardage game. You have to catch every punt. You can't let that ball hit the ground. And Boswell, the kicker for Pittsburgh, is a doggone. He's a good kicker. I mean, he's a Pro Bowl kicker. But we have to win the field position with special teams. And I forgot to bring this up versus the Rams, but the Rams were quite happy. I don't know if you noticed it. The Rams were quite happy kicking the ball in the end zone and then letting the Lions take the ball at the 35-yard line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's better than the 43, which was the average starting drive for the Lions against the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football.
Exactly. So they may have found an answer with Kennedy, at kick returner. Are they going to kick it away from him? I would speculate that they are. So it's just it's going to be an interesting game on how each team approaches this. And with a healthy DK Metcalf going against this Detroit Lions defense, I'm going to be curious to see what Shepard has in store for him. So that's kind of my take on what I see in the coach's corner on what's going to happen for this coming Sunday.
Yeah, well, Corey Patterson 1007, maybe that's 007, one of my favorite N64 games from back in the day, happens to agree, or at least pointing out DK Metcalf just salivating and smiling. Who's supposed to stop him? I don't see it.
Okay, I got a question. Another question. You just brought up a point. So what did you just say? 007 was one of your favorite games?
Yeah, N64, James Bond, 007, gold member.
Okay, you know that's like books and a movie like franchise, correct?
Yeah, James Bond, right?
Yeah, I'm just making sure. I mean, you're bringing up video games and
Yes, I know that the 007 franchise is not just the one N64 game that I enjoyed playing.
Me too. There's two of us here that also know that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
I know we don't know everything. Usually,
no, I didn't say that.
Like,
okay. Do you know the author?
That's what it is. Yeah, I said gold member. I'm getting mixed up with Austin Powers there. GoldenEye. That's what it was.
Gold Austin Powers.
Do you know who wrote 007? James Bond.
Was there a video game for it?
No.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. He didn't write the code for it. He wrote the books for it. Ian Fleming. Doesn't ring a bell.
Friend of the program.
Do we continue to disappoint you, Bradford, every time?
No, it's not disappointing. Just trying to spread knowledge the best I can.
Yeah. You've done plenty of that with your vibrating cylinders today. So.
Hey, the crowd loved that.
Yeah, our guy. I don't want to mispronounce it. How would you guys say that?
Mastrovi.
Sounds like a good pasta or lasagna. This is a great comment here before we go to break. Banta seems like a good phone a friend candidate if you get on the game show. I agree with that.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Banta,
it.
You're my phone a friend for that, and if I end up in jail, you'll be my first call. I think you're just a guy that I'm calling first for a lot of things in life.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Hey, sounds like a plan.
Hopefully it's a game show and not jail, but you never know. So,
okay.
All right, let's tie a bow on this, wrap it all up on a live Locked On Lions squad show in just a second. Final segment of the program on the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Lions squad show, getting ready for that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wanted to ask you guys this, and I don't remember the last time the Steelers played at Ford Field, but I do remember times as a child being at Ford Field when the Steelers come to town and there being more Steelers fans than Lions fans. And I don't know if it's just the terrible towels, because anytime you've got a number of fans waving them, it seems to multiply, the bright yellow, everything like that. But it's a franchise that historically travels really well. How do we feel about Lions faithful showing out at Ford Field? But I'm going to offer a counter argument after I hear from each one of you about this topic. Who wants to start? Natalie Kerwin.
Well, it's a home game, and obviously there's a lot on the line. I think Lions faithful will show out. I don't know what the other argument is against this. I'm so curious.
I never thought I would get to this point, but it's not even an argument against it, but it's a counterpoint.
A counterpoint? Okay. I mean, yeah, Pittsburgh fans I'm sure they will travel well. I'm sure we are going to see a sea of yellow, but obviously there's going to be more Honolulu blue in the crowd. And I think it's going to be, this is very much a must-win, do-or-die game, as we say, especially when you look at the playoff odds. We'll get into that in a second, but I think more Lions fans will obviously show out. Bradford, where I feel like we're on the same page, right?
Oh, by far. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I just historically, the Pittsburgh Steelers have always traveled well. And, since this is talking about Mastrovi, brought it up, would love to show up all of Bradford stories, love it, all that kind of stuff. The Steelers back in the 70s. So back in the 70s, were one of the first two teams, the Cowboys being the other one, were the first two teams to actually broadcast radio down into Mexico. And that's, and at that point in time in history of the game, it was the Steelers and the Cowboys. It seemed like every year that were in the Super Bowl. And that's where they picked up a ton of fans, and it just started to carry nationwide, because whenever I was with the, Redskins, now Commanders, you would always see that whenever we would play the Steelers. You would always see the Terrible Towel come in to the stadium and have a definite presence. But with the way that the Lions travel and with the way that the Lions fans have been over the last 4 to 5 years, Natalie, you said there's possibly going to be a sea of, terrible towels. So I would just like to see that sea turn into just little drops in a sea of blue, of Honolulu blue.
Right.
And just drown out all of the Pittsburgh noise that's going to be associated with this game. Nothing would make me happier than to see the Pittsburgh Steelers have false starts during this game due to crowd noise.
Yeah.
That would be a sight to see. That would
sure.
be awesome.
That's the Ford Field that we know and love. The only counterpoint I have, and this is a dangerous place to be in, where I can never remember when I said this, where I said this, if it was on a show in Dallas or our show. At one point, I talked about my grandparents, who are season ticket holders for 50 plus years. And for the first time in their 50 plus years of being season ticket holders, because of how, not just because, but it's a combination of a lot of things. Lion season tickets have gotten so expensive, the holidays, and they travel for the holidays. So for the first time, they are selling their 2 seats to help offset some of the season ticket costs. And I wonder how many other people are in that same boat, where A, traveling for the holidays, B, it's unfortunately an economical decision based on the increase in season tickets. There was that article, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, where the Lions season ticket increases were some of the most in the entire NFL. And I get it. It's supply and demand. And, we don't need to do a lesson in economics here, but that's a part of the conversation. So I don't blame anyone that, hey, you go to 7 games a year or 6 games a year and you need to sell a ticket, a game or two to help offset some of those costs. So that's the only counterpoint. So it's not an argument. It's just another little slice of the pie as far as the conversation goes.
No, it's a legitimate question to ask, because I experienced it firsthand whenever I was with the Colts, and I was on a team. We were 13-3 in '99, and we had our first home playoff game in Indianapolis Colts history, not Baltimore, but Indianapolis Colts history.
At the RCA Dome?
No, this was, it was the RCA Dome. It sure was. And so what had happened was, if you were,
just flew at my face.
Are you okay?
Yeah. A bug just flew at me out of nowhere. Keep going.
All right.
This show is so off the rails. Continue.
So they made extra tickets available to the season ticket holders, and they ended up purchasing them. But then they turned around and sold them, to try to make a profit. To what you were saying, Jake, was to offset the cost of season tickets. And unbeknownst to them, we were playing the Tennessee Titans, which is only maybe a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Divisional rival too, right?
Not at that time. Not at that time. They hadn't switched. We hadn't switched divisions yet. So, and so, I mean, we had to go silent count in our own stadium because they had so many Titan fans. And Bill Polian got so mad about that he made a rule that we were not going to make extra tickets available to season ticket holders from there on out.
Wow. That's I hope and pray it doesn't get to that point. And I don't foresee it by any means. But let's wrap up with what we know is at stake. Must win. We've said it time and time again. We touched on it briefly post game after the loss to the Rams. Still in theory, and I mean, the Lions don't control their own destiny. The way the numbers work out, less than a 40% chance. And Nat, I know we love to just get, deep into the potential scenarios, and then Coach Banta reels us back in and says one game at a time, which both can be true. But you look at some of the other things that have to happen. The Lions somewhat control that with, playing the Bears the last game of the season. Chicago's remaining schedule is tougher than anybody else's. The Niners and Bears are going to play each other on the 28th. Those are two wild card teams to keep an eye on. But a lot to be played out here in the final 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, again, talking about the numbers, we can get all caught up in that. But just for the Lions specifically, week 16, this is according to NFL.com. The Lions right now, 44% chance to make the playoffs. If they win on Sunday, it moves to a 55% chance. If they lose, 19%.
Oh,
that's what it says. Mm-hmm.
I believe it. Yeah.
So when Jared Goff says, we know this is essentially a must-win game. When fans are saying this is a must-win game, this really is. I mean, this is important. They have to go and get it done. So that's a big jump to go from even 44 right now to 19. I mean, so this really is. I know, Bradford, you don't like to hear must-win, but I don't know how else to put it at this point.
It's what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Let's go win the second quarter.
Yeah.
That's it. True. Let's go win the second quarter. So this is the second quarter of a 4-week term. So we go put together a complete game, and TCB, just take care of business. That's it.
TCB.
I like it. I like it. All right, that concludes this edition. Oh, we got to do our score predictions. Look at that. I was getting distracted by that comment in the chat from Jaderic saying I'm a professional. Furthest thing from a professional, but I appreciate that. So there's got to keep the ship moving forward here. Doing my best. But let's see. We had a loss on Sunday, so the predictions, we'll throw that out the window. This game, Lions, Steelers. Who wants to start with their prediction?
You go, Bradford.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 31-24 Lions.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know if Natalie does. There was a
No, I like that. I'm saying I feel like I'm on a similar track.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 31-21.
Okay, pretty similar. I like it. All right. My Jared Goff apologist coming out in full force. He's going to silence those haters. Dan Campbell, the professor, with the readers on, will have the play calls all over, keeping the Steelers on their toes. We're going to see a steady dose of Jahmyr Gibbs, not just between the tackles, but similar to what we saw against the Cowgirls. And the Lions offense is going to soar to the tune of 49 points, 7 touchdowns, 7 perfect extra points from Jake Bates. The defense, well, it is Aaron Rodgers on the other side, but give me the Lions 49, Steelers 35, and we are all back on the Jared Goff train, and we just win the day and move on to the third quarter, right, Bradford Banta?
Exactly.
Okay.
Go into the second half.
All right, for Bradford Banta, Natalie Kerwin. My name is Jake Riepma. You can find today's audio-only version wherever you get your podcast on the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Another later game, 4:30 start. So, 4:25. So we'll be on post-game. Of course, check out The Daily Show with Matt Derry, The Daily Show with Matt Derry, The Derry Show with Matt Derry, the Locked On Lions. All right. That is officially time to sign off. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your day and talk to you on Sunday.